everybody, BeMetalways here. We are back for another new album review. This week I'm reviewing Enslaved with the album Utgard, if that's the way it's pronounced. It was released by Nuclear Blast on October 2nd, 2020. Now, Enslaved needs no introduction, obviously, but here it is anyways. Formed in Bergen in Norway in 1991 by Ivar Bjornsson on guitars and Grutel Kynilsson and vocals and bass. Sorry for butchering your names. Anyways, Enslaved emerged from the Norwegian black metal and Viking metal scene, but have always exhibited a unique approach to extreme music. Over the years, they have been adventurous and progressive, incorporating elements of progressive rock, jazz, and other distinct influences into their sound. While increasingly admired in the prog world, they never lost their black metal edge. Though the band's lineup has changed many times over the years, Bjornsson and Kjellson have been the sole constant members. Currently, Ivar Sundoy on drums, Håkon Vinje keyboards and vocals, and Ice Dale solo guitar complete the lineup. Between the debut from 1994 and E released in 2017, Enslaved released 12 other studio albums, so obviously in total 14. And almost all of them are fantastic, while not being repeating themselves. So that brings us to 2020's Utgard. So therefore, this is their 15th studio album featuring 9 tracks in 45 minutes. With Utgard, Enslaved takes us into another direction. As opposed to the previous records, this time we are presented with short and more straightforward songs. The longest song, for example, is Sequence, which is only 6.5 minutes. If you think about it, in the last 3 albums, there were only 2 songs shorter than that, to give you an idea. The other thing is, while Enslaved always had a thematically direction in each album, Utgard is their first full concept album. And according to the band, and I quote, "The album is a journey into and through Utgard. From Norse mythology, we know is a landscape where the giants roam, where the gods of Asgard have no control, dangerous, chaotic, uncontrollable, and where madness, creativeness, humor, and chaos dwells." So musically, despite the songs being much shorter than in previous albums, as I mentioned, I see Utgard even more influenced by 70s prog bands such as Pink Floyd, King Crimson, and Genesis. Also, due to the shorter and more direct approach, the album seems to pick more from traditional heavy metal and even 70s hard rock, like Deep Purple, for example. We have like chugging guitars quite a lot, the use of power chords. Those have gained more ground compared to earlier albums. And many songs have a very cool groove and atmospheric passages. The newcomer Vinje on the keyboards and vocals has perfected his clean vocals abilities and has quite a significant contribution with his vocals in most of the songs. Fires in the Dark is a very nice choice to open the album, as it surfaces Enslaved folk Viking roots during especially the intro part of the song, the first part of the song. It also features some cool acoustic atmospheric moments, a choice that we will see coming back throughout the album. Also, a constant in the album is that a lot happened in just a few minutes. In case of this opening track, Fires in the Dark, the first 2.5 minutes are packed with cool stuff, including some nice drum fills. I can also say that Fires in the Dark stays very truthful to their sound of the early 2010s. Track number 2, Jetta Grita, it's another song to pay homage to that period. More specifically, the nice groove brings me back to 2012's Retir. But it could also be like an Abbath song infused with 70s rock. There is this whole instrumental section with key solo that is just great. Fight of Thought and Memory is another song to display this old school enslaved but through their current lenses. Other tracks like Storms of Utgard, Distant Seasons, and Sequence are all groovy songs with clean vocals, as well as the instrumental passages being very similar to what we can hear in Genesis and Pink Floyd's early albums. The mellow and acoustically dominated album Closer reminds me a lot of 1971's Metal by Pink Floyd, for example. Another shout out to the atmospheric and spacey song Homebound that features the most interesting guitar solo on the album. Overall, I like the modern production and bright production of this album. It sounds great, and also the album cover really, to me, reflects this dark mood of the album. Now, my only real issue with the album is just one song. Well, first of all, we have this instrumental song with a narration, that's Utgarder. That's just fine and relates very well to the album opener and the overall concept. But then right after that, we get Uriorton, or whatever you say that, which I just cannot listen to it fully. I always try to do it and I ended up skipping it. Now, if you like 80s albums from Depeche Mode or New Order, then you may like this one. Yeah, you heard me right. Depeche Mode or New Order. That's not what I want from Enslaved song. And I appreciate them for trying it. And, the concept of the album that, there are unexpected turns in this landscape of the Norse mythology. So maybe that's what they were trying to convey here, like throwing a curveball at us. Yeah, I couldn't hit it, didn't like it, but that's fine. It's just one song in the overall album. That's why I considered Utgard a good album. Enslaved was able to accomplish something difficult. They achieved progressiveness without using very long songs to do so. In most of the songs, despite the short length, there is a lot going on to appreciate and to digest. And while the prog rock influences are even more pronounced than previously, the Black Viking metal roots are still present, which is very cool. All their albums are growers, and Utgard is no different. So it could be that I will end up appreciating it even more, but for now, I personally prefer their recent previous albums a bit more. But still, I'm giving it 81 out of 100, which means a good album, almost a very good album, if it wasn't for the misstep with Uriorton, that song that reminds me of Depeche Mode. Anyways, thanks for listening and being here. Please like, subscribe, share. Help me out here, and BeMetalways.